everybody? Welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I've just finished watching Halloween Ends, and there's wow, I can't believe it, but there are a lot of stuff to spoil in this movie because it's not in the trailers, it's not in the marketing at all. The actual plot of what happens in this movie is in itself, like, if you try to just say, like, here's what happens for the first, like, 2 hours of the movie, it's a huge spoiler because you don't know any of it going in. And I'm gonna say right now, a lot of people are going to not like what they did here. A lot of people. Some people might. And I'm gonna say right now also that, like, if you had described this to me on paper, I also probably would have said, that is stupid. That's a stupid decision to do. Don't do that. However, and I think I can attribute this to having seen Halloween Kills only like a couple hours before going into the theaters to watch Halloween Ends. I was actually okay with this. I was okay with what they did here. So we're going to get into it. But just know that I'm fully aware there's going to be a lot of people who really hate what they did here. And I can't blame them because it totally makes sense. Again, if it was on paper and you had read it to me, like, this is what happens, I would have been like, wow, I hate that. You know? So let's jump into it. Here we go. So first off, we get a Halloween 2019. So remember, the first two movies in this trilogy, in this 2018 trilogy, they both take place on the same Halloween night, Halloween 2018. So what we do is we kind of, like, we get like a little montage of events that happened in those first two movies that happened in 2018, and then a year passed by and no one has seen Michael Myers since the end of Halloween Kills. Now cut forward to Halloween 2019, and there's this guy, and he's going off to college. He's got this bright future ahead of him, and he's babysitting the son of this couple, I guess, just kind of as a favor, because he used to cut their lawns. He used to mow their lawns when he was a kid. So he knows this couple, right? So he's like, okay, yeah, I'll watch your son. I'll be the babysitter for tonight. Why not, right? I'm leaving for college soon. One last favor, whatever. And everything goes horribly wrong. You think the whole time that Michael Myers is going to show up, and he and the kid are talking about Michael Myers, because again, he disappeared 1 year previous to these events. And the kid basically ends up trapping him, kind of like as a prank. He traps him into the attic. And he keeps on like, ooh, Michael Myers is going to get you. Michael Myers kills the babysitters. So it's almost like a reversal of, like, what you think would happen. Like, maybe the teenager or the college student would prank the kids into being scared of Michael Myers. It's kind of the reverse this time because, yeah, he's right. Michael Myers kills babysitters, not kids. Or at least most of the time. He did kill that one kid who wanted to dance. Anyways, everything goes horribly wrong when the guy is kicking at the door, trying to get the door open because the kid has locked him in the attic, and he ends up kicking the door open, except they were upstairs. They were like 3 stories up, and he kicks the door so hard that the kid gets hit by the door, falls over the banister, and he dies on impact. The kid that he was watching, and the parents came home just in time, and then we cut away to credit scene. So, very surprising twist. Michael Myers not involved at all, but they're kind of going with this idea of, like, oh, the story of Michael Myers has become this infection in the town of Haddonfield. So it's like, okay, so everyone, even just being paranoid about him, even just thinking about him is enough to cause this kind of fear and panic. And hey, accidents happen. And they kind of show a bunch of crazy stuff. Like, these two people got shot, and they're like, is it Michael Myers? No, he doesn't use a gun. And then this lady had gotten hanged outside her house. And we don't really, it's just like a montage of horrible events, basically showing, like, in some sort of metaphorical way, they all sort of root back to Michael Myers starting these horrible events in this once peaceful town, basically. And then we cut forward back to modern day. It's 2022. And this happens throughout the entire movie. By the way, Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, she is writing a book, and she's narrating it to the audience. And this happens. I want to say this happens, here in the beginning, it happens at the end. I want to say somewhere in the middle it also happens. So there's like a lot of narrating happening, and I don't remember where I heard this, but basically the idea was like, if you see a lot of narrating in a movie, it's because things are being edited over and things are being cut out. And so they had to get like, okay, we'll just narrate what happened, and we'll kind of clear things up. And I don't know if that's actually the case here, but it reminded me of that, of learning that information. Anyways, so now we're in 2022. Again, Michael Myers has not been seen for 4 years now. And that kid, the babysitter, he's kind of the town pariah now. And basically the idea is that, like, hey, no one knows where Michael Myers is, but hey, this kid, he did something horrible, right? Or, this horrible accident happened, but now he's walking around free. Everyone hates this kid. He sucks, right? And so, he can't go out in public. He doesn't have any friends. No one wants to talk to this guy because everyone's like, oh, you're the child killer, And at first, I'm just going to kind of gloss over events here because a lot happens. Jamie Lee Curtis kind of takes pity on this kid, backs him up, helps him get back at some bullies, introduces him to her granddaughter, who they're living together now, and this kid and the granddaughter kind of start a relationship. But I keep on calling him a kid. He's like a college student. I don't know why I'm calling him a kid. Anyways, he's like 20 something. But this guy keeps on getting bullied, and he gets harassed in the middle of a party where they were having a good time. And basically, this guy's life sucks, right? So he's having like good times with the granddaughter, but he keeps on getting harassed by the same group of, I think they're actually high schoolers, over and over again, until he gets injured and he finds himself inside the sewer. He was dragged into the sewers by Michael Myers. And this weird thing happens where Michael Myers grabs him and he's like about to kill him, but then he like looks in his eyes, and then he looks in his eyes, and they do like this interesting flashback effect where it's like, oh, Michael Myers sees something in this kid, and so he lets him go. And they, obviously Michael Myers never talks, but they sort of have this like mentor and student kind of relationship thing going on, where like he'll like lure someone into the sewer that he was trying to kill, and Michael Myers kills him, and he's like, show me how to do it, and he like, they have like this interesting kind of relationship going on where the kid is slowly getting darker and darker, and Laurie Strode sees it, and she's trying to warn her granddaughter, saying like, hey, something's not right with this kid, like, you look in his eyes, it looks just like Michael Myers, right? And he and Michael Myers both do go and attack these people that the granddaughter works with, who are jerks, and so a lot of the movie is basically like the first 2/3 of the movie is just this guy slowly turning into a Michael Myers type, and he's being like tutored by the real Michael Myers. So, near the end, when there's like this killing spree happening, it's all this guy, because he actually went and stole Michael Myers' mask off of Michael Myers. He like went and fought him, he wrestled him, and he took the mask and he ran. And so Michael Myers like gets up and he's like gonna come after him because he took the mask. But Michael Myers does not show up again until like the very end of the movie, and I mean the last 15 minutes of the movie. So right away, a lot of people are gonna hate that. Michael Myers does not do a lot of killing in this movie. He shows up kind of sporadically in the middle, and then he shows up at the very, very end. Now, the very end, they do have an epic showdown, and it's really cool, and we'll get into that. But, again, on paper, it sounds like I would hate that, because it's like, I'm here for Michael Myers to do stuff. But I think because I had just seen Halloween Kills, where that movie was almost nothing but Michael Myers doing his thing, it feels like I was okay with it not being what this movie was. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Hey, maybe that's not fair, and you judge this movie on its own, because again, on paper, that should be horrible. like there's Michael Myers is barely in it. Like, yeah, but it's interesting nonetheless. I was interested in what was happening with this new guy who was slowly becoming a Michael Myers type, right? And this also kind of brings into my other thing, and I have a theory. I haven't looked up any of this. I have no proof at all, but it feels like there was an earlier version of this third movie. Maybe if COVID didn't happen, maybe if the last movie was received better, I don't know. It feels like there was an early version of this movie where this new guy, what was his name? Oh my god, what's his name? Is it Cody? It's Cody, I think. It might be Cody. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna say Cody. It feels like there was an earlier version of the script where Cody slowly became Michael Myers throughout the entire movie, and then Michael Myers dies, which, you know, spoiler alert, he does die at the end of this movie. We'll get to that. And then he lives, and he goes on to become like the new Michael Myers, and it's all about like, you know, passing on this legacy of evil, and how like Haddonfield will always have a Michael Myers, you know, and basically have like that sort of idea. The only thing is that does not happen. It feels like that's what was going to happen, and it feels like that was like the original script's intention, and then they came back in and they rewrote the ending, because he does put on Michael Myers' mask, he does go on his own killing spree, and he does start to like move a lot like Michael Myers, like he's actually like, learning, right? So it feels like it's headed in that direction. But then Laurie Strode manages to shoot him down and defeat him, and then he kills himself because she's like, you can't be with my granddaughter, she's never gonna be with you, you're crazy guy, you know, he just went on a murder spree. So he kills himself, and then, you know, Michael Myers comes in and like snaps his neck for like, you know, definite killing of him. So he's just gone. And again, some people are gonna hate even that part where it's like, okay, so what was the point of all that? Surprisingly, again, I'm kind of okay with it. I would have been okay with that original version where they kind of went with this idea of like, oh, you know, Michael Myers dies, but there's a new Michael Myers. But surprisingly, I'm also okay with this, where it's like, you know what? No, here's the real Michael Myers. This guy, it was an interesting idea there. You know, it was some strange like precursor script, but it was interesting. I was still like invested in the movie as it was happening. But yeah, anyway, so Michael Myers does come back for his mask at the end. He kills the kid, the guy, Cody, whatever his name is. And then he and Laurie Strode finally have their epic showdown, which is something that a lot of people were complaining was missing from Halloween Kills. So here they are, they finally have their epic showdown, and it is really good. It's a really good fight. They're throwing each other across the room, they're going back and forth, and she manages to stab him to the table, and he's stuck on this like kitchen island thing, right? And basically she manages to slit his throat, she slits his wrists, and it's like, okay, so he's dead, he's dying, he got stabbed in the heart, he got stabbed in the lungs, he's like, you know, he's dead, right? And everyone crowds around, and the police are there, and they're like carrying his body on top of the cars, and like the whole town is attending, and they take him to the chop shop, you know, where they, you know, whatever it is, right? The dump, the construction place. The whole town is there, and they take Michael Myers' body there, and he's unmasked, and that's very important. We'll get to that. They take Michael Myers' body, and they put it inside one of those like metal grinders that just like eats up car parts and just like spits them out, you know. They put him in there, and they show his body being squished and like you know, splattered and explode, and it's gone. There's nothing left of his body. It is entirely gone. And the reason it's important that he had his mask off was because, you know, long ago in Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrections, it was, you know, Laurie Strode in H2O cut his head off, and then in Halloween Resurrections, it's like, actually he switched his mask with a different person, so that was not him that died. You know, so like this movie made sure that like he has his mask off, his body is beyond destroyed, there's no way he's getting up, there's nothing to get up, he's gone, right? So I appreciate that this movie was thorough. Was like, this is the end of our trilogy, we're not making another one. There's not going to be a writer who comes in and says like, actually this Michael Myers managed to come back because of this and this and this. It's like, no, he is gone. There's no more Michael Myers. There's literally no physical way for him to come back. It's over. Now, granted, of course, we all know, give them another 5 years, they will reboot this again. We know they will. I'm not mad about it. You know, it's just, it's how this works, right? They're going to reboot it again. There will be another Michael Myers, another Laurie Strode, but, you know, as of right now, he is dead. It is over, and I appreciate that. And yeah, like I said, I don't know. I was it maybe it doesn't even make sense, but I was entertained by this movie. Even though Michael Myers is not in large parts of it, and it's focusing on this entirely other character who slowly turns into a Michael Myers, but then he dies at the end anyways. I was fine with it. It didn't bother me at all. It really didn't. And I think, I can tell that this movie went through a lot of reshoots, but or even rewrites. But I think maybe if you take, I was gonna say trilogy, but maybe a saga. If you take all 4 of the movies that are in this canon, from the original to the 2018 and Kills, and then here it ends. I think it actually does end up being a much more satisfying journey watching them all together than it is one at a time. Like, if you watched this movie here and you had not actually watched the last one or 2018's in a while, I feel like you're going to be massively disappointed. Because, you're like, I walked here for Michael Myers. Where's Michael Myers at? But if you actually do, like, somewhat of a marathon and then you go watch this one, it'll be a much smoother ride, I think. And that's definitely what happened with me. But I was also getting, like, have you guys ever seen the movie Fear? It's like 94 or something. Mark Wahlberg dates this girl, but then turns out Mark Wahlberg's actually crazy and he's a killer, and it turns into this whole slasher movie at the very end. You kind of get similar vibes with this new guy and the granddaughter, because they're like having a great time and they're on motorcycles, and then he's actually slowly becoming crazier and more killing, and it kind of gave me vibes of Fear. So I wonder if that was part of an inspiration for this movie. But anyways, yeah, that's Halloween Ends. And look, I think I enjoyed this more than Halloween Kills. It didn't have as much like Michael Myers stuff in it, but it was, I think overall it was like a better constructed movie. Like the story was actually like a story, instead of just like the mob gets mad and they chase some random guy, and then the mob gets mad and they try to fight Michael Myers, and then they lose, and then the movie ends. And Halloween Kills was very messy. This one at least felt like a complete package, even if it didn't have a lot of Michael Myers in it, and it was kind of about this other character entirely, so I can already see the things online, and I can't blame you guys. If you watch this movie and you hate it because it's missing so many of your classical Halloween elements, I can't blame you for hating it. It definitely is. It's not going to work for everyone. That's like absolutely gonna be the truth. Some people I think are gonna be fine with it, especially if you watch those other movies first and then go watch this one. But a lot of people are gonna be like, it not only does it stray so wildly from the formula, but like it feels like this feels like it was a story all on its own, not very connected to the last two. Which is fair, right? Like, they had to do this 4-year time skip, which was definitely not part of the plan, right? Like, COVID happened, and then for some reason they decided that, like, in the same universe, in the Halloween universe, they're also going to skip 4 years because the movie was delayed 4 years. So, like, I don't know. They did interesting stuff like that, I will say this. Look, truth is, you can watch the first Halloween, and then you can watch Halloween 2018, and that's probably a good stopping point. You don't have to watch Kills or Ends because they're not as good, but they're interesting. Each of them have their strengths and their weaknesses, and you know what? I congratulate them on like actually being willing to finalize it. Like they had Laurie have a happy ending. Michael Myers is dead for real. And so I congratulate them on that. It would have been so easy, and I have to imagine that the studio pressured them to be like, hey, can you leave it a little open-ended so Michael Myers can come back? And I have to imagine they had to push back against that and say like, no, he's gone, it's over. If you want another Halloween, you got to make it yourself and do a whole reboot and start all over. This one is literally over. It's gone. Like, there's no more movies after this one. In this continuity, at least. So, you know, again, I appreciate that, but yeah, this was an interesting movie. I am going to be fascinated to see the way people discuss it online, because there's going to be a lot of angry people out there. And again, they're kind of justified in their anger, because this is not a normal Halloween movie. But I was fine with what we got. It's different. It was interesting. And there was a conclusion to it. So, okay. Yeah. Anyways, I'll be curious to see what you guys think about this one as you go see it. Halloween Ends. Man, those trailers were deceptive, I'll say that. And I'm wondering if, you know, if this one gets received as divisively as I think it will, and I'm pretty sure it will. I wonder if the trailers should have been more honest about what we were looking at. Because, like, watching the trailer now, there's a lot of scenes where it's like, oh, it's Michael Myers killing people, and then you watch the movie and you're like, no, actually that's the other guy. That's not even Michael Myers doing that, you know. So like, I'm wondering if they had been more honest about what this movie was, would it be received better? You know, I'll always wonder that, I guess. So, anyways, let me know what you guys think when you go see the new Halloween, and I think it's streaming on Peacock. So if you don't want to go see it in the theaters and you have the Peacock app already, I think you can just watch it there. So, you know, that's a positive, right? Yeah, this was an interesting one, and I'm surprised that I walked away happier, because again, thinking about the plot, it's like, this should make me mad, and yet I'm not. It's weird. It's very weird. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.